What's up, guys? So today I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my story, how I got started in the online coaching space, and how I went from a depressed, stressed, and broke 18-year-old with really no goals or a sense of direction to a stressed personal trainer to now a successful online fitness coach and running my business, anywhere I want in the world, creating more time and location freedom for myself as well, and honestly impacting more people than I ever have, which is super fulfilling. I'm going to give you some actionable steps that you can actually take today and start using to create the life that you ultimately want for yourself as well through online fitness coaching, which is what I am an expert in. That being said, my journey, started in high school, really with working out. That's where I really fell in love with fitness. I was a skinny kid in high school. I was definitely partying a lot. I was caught up in the wrong crowd. I started playing football and realized I was very undersized for being 6 feet tall. I was 6 feet tall. I was 150 pounds. And I was getting blown up on the football field. And that's where I was like, okay, I need to put some weight on if I'm going to be able to keep up with everybody else. So started working out, started eating more. I was just eating whatever I could really get my hands on. It wasn't anything specific. I ended up putting 30 pounds on my senior year. I was like 180 pounds and started to really enjoy the attention, honestly, that I got from having a more muscular physique. Girls started liking me more. My friend group also improved as well, but I was still very much caught up in the scene of drinking on the weekends. I was getting blackout drunk. I was doing drugs. I was really just not focused. Then graduation hit, and that's kind of where my world turned upside down. That's where a lot of this journey really got its fuel. I remember being 18 years old. I was working at Subway at the time. I was riding the bus to work every day, and I was so pissed off that I didn't have a car. My friends had cars. I couldn't afford to go to college. And at that time, I remember riding the bus and vividly having this memory that I promised myself I would never be in that situation again. And I think sometimes the most uncomfortable and painful times in our life are actually the catalyst for change. And that's what ultimately made me change. I realized if I was going to start getting ahead and being successful, I had to change my life. I couldn't keep drinking and getting blacked out drunk and hanging out with my friends in my free time. I needed to get serious. So I reached out to a friend of mine who was more successful. He recommended a book called As a Man Thinketh, right? This book is a philosophy book, ultimately changed the way that I thought. And I realized that it was up to me and no one else to change my life. It was up to me to take responsibility for my circumstances and ultimately create the life that I wanted. So I started getting more serious about working out. I stopped drinking alcohol. I did my first fitness competition. And that's where I really found a passion for, wow, I want to make fitness into a career. I wanted to do what these guys, these influencers were doing. They had Lamborghinis, they were traveling, they were doing whatever they wanted. I didn't know what the path yet looked like, but I knew that I could do it because I was genetically gifted. I did have certain talents. I just needed to continue to put the discipline and hard work in and take responsibility for my life. So about 20 years old is really when I started getting serious. I got a personal training certification, and that's when I became a personal trainer. My first personal training job, I made only $8 a session. It was 30-minute sessions at Gold's Gym. I was training mostly senior citizens, people over 60, and I love the aspect of being able to help somebody and see the results. But I realized that the money I was making just wasn't enough to give me the lifestyle I wanted. I was living in a 700 square foot apartment that cost $900 a month. At that point, I bought my first car. It wasn't the car of my dreams, but it was a start. And I realized that I needed to do a lot more to get ahead. So I started to invest more into my personal training journey. At that time, I had a mentor help me to really start getting into the personal training space and being successful. So from there, I created a very successful personal training business in Las Vegas, where I'm from. At the top of my career, I was making like $250,000 a year as a personal trainer. However, I was still spending 70 hours a week in a gym, and I still didn't live where I wanted to live. I didn't drive the car that I wanted to drive. I didn't have the lifestyle that I wanted, and I knew that I wanted more for myself. I was grateful for what I had, but I didn't have everything that I wanted. Similar to a lot of personal trainers that are kind of in the gym and they're just stuck in this constant perpetual loop of trading their time for money. And the number one way that you can get out of the rat race is to stop trading your time for money, because you only have so many hours in a day. And that's where I found online fitness coaching. But before that, what I needed to do is I really had to get certain on my why. So there was 2 points in my life where I did that. Once when I was 20 years old, where I was like, what am I passionate about? What am I good at? And that was fitness. Another time when I was around 27 years old, and that's when I started, in the last 3 years, really started to have a trajectory of success, was I sat down with myself, I took out a piece of paper, and I wrote down, why do you want to be successful? Right? And then I asked myself again, well, why is it that you want to do that to be successful? And when you can get really certain on your purpose, right? Why is it that you're put on this earth? What is it that you're here to do? What talents that you have that you can give back to others? Ultimately, that's the only drive that you need to accomplish your goals. And then from there, it's just implementing the right action steps to really understand where it is that you wanted to go. So once I got certain on my purpose and my why, again, when I was around 27 as a personal trainer, still working, 70 hours in the gym, then I really started to cut out distractions. I think it's much easier to say no to things when you know exactly what you want to do, because from there, you can say, okay, does this fit the life that I want, or does it fit the old life that I currently have, or the current life that I have? So I started cutting out distractions, stopped putting a lot of my time and attention into, things and people that didn't align with who I wanted to be. And then from there, I started to see more success. About 2 years ago is when I first got into the online fitness coaching space. And my life looks completely different in the last 2 years as an online fitness coach compared to when I was a personal trainer. And by any means was I not successful as a personal trainer. I just knew that I wanted so much more. And I can tell you the life that I have now is drastically different. I can now travel to Miami for a week, and I can work on my computer and still help people at the highest level with their fitness and health goals. I can, I can take, a couple days off if I really want to, right? When you're an in-person trainer, you can't do that, right? You're tied to your schedule, you're tied to your clients. So that's what really got me excited about the opportunity to take my business online. So the second thing that I would say outside of finding your purpose that is an actionable step that you can take is hire someone that has been where you want to go. And that's what I did. I saw somebody else that was doing $700,000 a month online. And I literally I DM'd him on Instagram. I was like, hey man, how are you doing what you're doing? I would love to know. And he goes, honestly, your mindset is already great because you're already reaching out to me, which tells me that you are interested in being better. And that's really the first step. Like, no one can convince you to change. You have to be in the headspace that you want more for yourself. From there, I paid him to mentor me, got started. My first month as an online coach, I did $25,000. And that was in January of 2023. It is now January of 2025. So it's officially been 2 years since I've been online. And then fast forward 1 year later, in January of 2024, I did $90,000, $90,000, which is twice as much as some people make in a single year online with 90% margins, which is absolutely wild. So I went from making $8 an hour to $90,000 in a single month just through persistence, through getting certain of my why, and then finding someone else that's been where I want to go, and ultimately getting that education and knowledge and paying to fast forward ultimately what could have taken me years and years and years and years to do. So that was really important to me, in my journey. Up to this point, I've probably spent over $70,000 in mentorship, and I can say it's returned itself tenfold. Last year as an online fitness coach, I did $700,000, which is wild to think about, right? In the last 2 years, my income has basically tripled. Another important aspect of being an online fitness coach is a lot of people think that you need to be selling like a $100 service. You are not going to be successful selling a $100 service because you would have to sell it basically 500 times just to make $50,000 a month. You basically have to sell $100 services. I found what's called the high ticket space. The high ticket space is basically your ability to give someone value and show them that value through a service and give them results and connect the value to the results you're able to give them. Ultimately, getting into the high ticket space is what's been able to change my life as an entrepreneur. And I think it is the easiest way that you can impact other people and also change your own life. And the thing is, a lot of people think you need 250,000, 300,000, a million followers to be successful. You don't. I started out with literally 3,000 followers on Instagram. Today I have about 25,000, but I started out with 3,000 followers and I made 25,000 off of 3,000 followers, right? And that's from all just really getting disciplined and hiring somebody else again. That's been where I want to go. That being said, I think it's really important to also, and I'm reading from my notes here to make sure I'm covering everything that I wanted to cover. A lot of people, they focus too much on trying to please everyone. And when you try to attract everyone, you end up attracting no one. The number one thing that I've learned from being an online fitness coach is really understand who it is that you want to help and who it is that you are going to help. And when you get certain on those things, which is called your niche or the avatar of your ideal client, it's not only so much easier to create content, but it's going to be so much easier to also attract the type of clients that ultimately want to work with you and ultimately are willing to pay you the amount that you're able to give them through value. And the people that I see that aren't very successful, whether it's creating content, whether it's getting clients, it's because they don't have a strong niche and they don't have a strong personal brand. And that's because they don't have a really sense of themselves or their message. The easiest way that you can create a niche is think about you, but 10 steps behind, right? Even if you're not somebody that has 10 years of experience in personal training or as an online coach, you still have some sort of authority because you've been doing it longer or have more discipline than the client that you can possibly help. So there's always an opportunity to give someone else value through really targeting them by thinking about where you've been. So really that's where my avatar started. I work with primarily, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of men. I've had great results with them. So naturally that niche of attracting who exactly I am, which I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a man, and talking to myself where I was 10 steps ago, whether it be about nutrition, whether it be about mindset, putting that message out there, not being afraid to offend people at times. I talk about controversial subjects on my social media, but that creates engagement and people really resonate with somebody who is more authentic rather than hiding behind, your people pleasing and wanting to just, really just wanting to attract everyone, which ends up just falling flat. You can't charge the amount you want to charge. And ultimately you're going to be working with people you don't want to work with. When I was a personal trainer, that was kind of the case. I did have a group of people that were attracted to me. However, I wasn't yet certain on my message. So I did end up working with some clients that not necessarily were aligned with the type of person I was or my opinions as well. So I think that's a big separator in a lot of online coaches. The people that you see that are doing really well in the online fitness coaching space and even online coaching space, they've picked a specific niche. They've picked a specific avatar. They've created content for that avatar. Now they're able to attract the clients they want and the high-paying people that are willing to ultimately pay them for what they're able to deliver in their service. And those are ultimately, the biggest actionable steps that you can possibly take. You need to get certain on your why. Why do you want to do this? What's your purpose? That's going to drive you. You need to cut out all distractions. Think about the things that are currently holding you back. What vices do you have? Or what things are you participating in? Where's your attention at? Ultimately, wherever your attention is, that's where energy is going to go. And if your attention isn't on being the best version of yourself so that you can help other people, that's going to take away from your ability to be successful. And I think that's the number one thing that people do that ultimately holds them back. On top of that, getting out of the mindset of trading your time for money. If you're being paid by the hour, it's almost impossible to get out of the rat race. It's going to be almost impossible to create a life of freedom, a life of design where, now I'm living in a 2,500 square foot loft, like literally the loft of my dreams. I was able to furnish it. I'm able to take my family on vacation. I'm able to do things for my mom that I was never able to. I'm able to drive the car of my dreams. I'm driving an M4 competition. I had a Porsche before this, a Porsche, for all you Porsche enthusiasts. And I can travel whenever I want. I can literally go wherever I want. And the cool part about it is the traveling is even a marketing expense as well, because I can create content when I travel and I can show people that you can still live a lifestyle that's healthy while you travel. So being an online fitness coach, as long as I have, I've realized how fulfilling it is to be able to help people, being able to design the life I want, still being able to lead by example, and now getting in a space as well where I am actually coaching other personal trainers who want to be where I am, who are where I was, and then helping other coaches to go online and help other people and ultimately create the life that they want, which doesn't come from inaction. It comes from action. And I think that's the most important part. This is the first YouTube video I've ever done. I'm literally just doing it, on my couch, no script, pre-recorded. And I think the best piece of advice outside of that I could give anybody is imperfect action is better than perfect procrastination, because you can make things overcomplicated, or you can just start doing and you're going to learn or you're going to win. Those are your two choices. So I hope you guys got a lot of value from today's video. You're able to take some action steps from here. And if you need further help, I'm going to drop a link in the description to fill out an application if you want to work with me for help in your business. Or you can look at me on Instagram, find me on Instagram at Michael Sheedy Fitness. Follow me there for more value, and I'd love to connect with you all. Peace.